Sean Cuthbert here of Hockey Night in New York with the great Jim Johnson of Companions in Courage. Jim, thank you so much for giving us some time here. What do you think of the event today?
You could not have a more spectacular day. And then the guy who wins it runs a 4:16. Okay, so think about that. Guy's running on hills. He's running across railroad tracks, across main highways. 400 people come out, and this guy runs a 4:16.
He beat me by about 3.5 hours.
That was pretty close, though. You were good. I saw you and Steph. I was like, I'm impressed that you're running a mile. That's good.
So how long has Companions in Courage been involved with the Main Street Mile here at Runner's Edge?
For 20 years. So what happened was Bob Cook, who runs Runner's Edge, which is a running store right up the street here, got together with Pat LaFontaine, and Mark Leff was another associate of ours 20 years ago, and said, there's something that we can do with the community that will tie in to helping sick kids in the hospital. And obviously a running store, he's selling shoes. We said, why don't we see if we could close down Main Street in Farmingdale for...
Why not?
And you have the power of Pat LaFontaine, or as he's known around the office, St. Patrick.
Appropriate.
And they just agreed to do whatever we needed, which is very smart on the town. When we first started 20 years ago, this town was pretty much a ghost town. All the stores that you see here were all boarded up. They didn't have any place to live or anything like that. And in the 20 years, we have seen this whole place just evolve into one of the most vibrant towns next to a railroad station on Long Island. And not that the Main Street Mile has anything to do with it, but it just is a reinforcement that when a couple of like-minded guys get together, it can make a difference.
Absolutely. So you talk about the growth of the town over the course of those 20 years. How about the growth of the event itself and also Companions in Courage?
Well, so the event, I think the first year we probably had 50 people run. And, and that when we thought that we're backslapping each other. 50 people. Holy mackerel. 50 people came out and supported it. And now, I think today was 400 and change. So the main thing is that the growth of the event has coincided with the growth of the foundation. So, 20 years ago, we didn't have a Lion's Den room built in a hospital. Now we have 20.
Wow.
And that was only the last few years because of COVID and then RSV, which was a respiratory issue for a lot of kids. We couldn't even get into hospitals. So to be able to now get back in, I'm psyched because we got like 3 in the hopper that we're working on right now. And, I'm just hopeful that it opens the door. We had to do some pivoting during COVID.
Right, of course.
So we had to...
As we all did.
We all did, right?
Right.
So we provided... probably about 200 Chromebooks to hospitals so the kids can get their homework. You think of the indignity, right? You get sick, that's bad enough. Now you have to spend so much time in the hospital, you don't go to school, you're going to get left back? Come on. So we talked to the child life staff, which are the lifeblood in most children's hospitals. They're the ones that make sure the kid gets their medicine, they make sure they get their therapy done, they bring in animals, they bring in arts and crafts, music. So they're really an unbelievable team, and we work closely with them. So we said, okay, once we give you the Chromebooks, what else do you need? They said, how about some uplifting content? So what we did was we found people that have, like Eddie here, who's an inspiration to so many people, and we just did stories, 15-minute podcasts, 20-minute podcasts, where we were able to bring uplifting stories to the kids. And we thought it was just for the kids, and we found out the parents wanted that stuff too.
Right.
So, it's universal. And the thing that's universal is that everybody in the healthcare industry or whatever says, why did it take a hockey player to do this? And I'm like, because it's an empathetic hockey player. It's a guy who was one of the top 100 players of all time. He's a way better human. I couldn't name 100 people that are better than him.
Right.
Mother Teresa, I'll give her.
That's fair. That's fair.
The Pope, maybe. But I'm just saying that, Pat is one of those people that just gets it. And from the beginning, Can I tell you a story?
Absolutely, please.
So this is. You couldn't make this story up. He gets his number retired by the Buffalo Sabres. So about 30 of us from Long Island go up, family, we're having a little celebration. He's on the ice. They bring some kids from the Children's Hospital, of course, and he has this ceremony, and he raises his jersey. Very spirited game. Sabres beat Toronto in the last minutes. You couldn't write a better
storybook.
That's great. So now all the people get back on a luxury bus, and we go out to our hotel. We're staying out in like East Aurora or someplace. And he looks at me, he goes, it's midnight. He goes, okay, the speeches are done. I need a beer. I was like, don't we all? So we leave. We're standing in the parking lot, and I look across, and there's Jack's Bar. I go, come on, let's go to Jack's Bar. It's like a Thursday night. It's midnight. Right. Buffalo has rolled in the sidewalks 2 hours earlier. So we go, about 7 of us, walk over to Jack's Bar. We get into Jack's Bar. There are maybe 5 people in Jack's Bar. Stand around on the corner of the bar, and a kid comes over and tells the bartender he'd like to buy Mr. LaFontaine a beer. Great. Sure. Bring on the beer. Kid comes over to me a couple of minutes later. He said, would it be okay if I said hello to Mr. LaFontaine? I said, hey, you bought him a beer. You better go say hello. Right?
Yeah.
So he goes, Mr. LaFontaine, I never thought I'd have the opportunity to thank you for what you did for me. And Pat's going, I'm sorry, I don't recognize you. What did I do for you? He said, 10 years ago, I was a patient at Buffalo Children's Hospital. And he pulled back his hair, and he had a scar on his head. He had brain tumor. He said, you gave me tickets for me and my family and friends to go to your luxury box. And it gave me hope. And he said, it's the first time I ever thought that I might get cured. I might be well again. You gave me that hope. And I never thought I'd ever have the chance to thank you for what you did for me that day. And here you are. And I'm crying. I'm like, are you kidding me? I go, if Disney wrote this script, they would never believe that this kid that had no idea that Pat LaFontaine was going to be there that night, and Pat had no idea this kid, and there they were. And I said, that is the absolute epitome of what Pat is.